my name is Emily, and this is the Delight Knits podcast, episode 4. Today is Sunday, November 7th, and I am trying something new and recording outside. It's a gorgeous day out. The leaves are starting to turn and fall. A lot of our trees actually are losing a lot of their leaves. You can't really tell as much right where we're at, but there's a lot of leaves on the ground. Right across from me, we've got 3 big trees that are all brown and have a ton more leaves underneath them, but this is the better background. I want to say thank you to returning viewers and those that have subscribed. I really appreciate your support in my new adventure of podcasting. And then I also want to thank any new viewers who stumble upon this video. It's been 2 weeks since I last podcasted. I believe it was the 24th of October when I podcasted last. So we've had a few things go on, like Halloween and all that, which is fun when you've got a 2-year-old. So we had lots of fun, and I'll get into that towards the end. I've got 2 finished objects this week and one work in progress. I've got 2 other works in progress, but I just didn't touch them, and you'll get to see why. I'll tell you why later. But I feel like I've done a decent amount of knitting these last 2 weeks, even with everything being so busy. Everything that I do talk about will be linked in the description box below. I try to put as much information as possible. If there is a Ravelry link to like my project pages, I put Ravelry in all caps in front of that link, so that way you are pre-warned if Ravelry is not accessible to you currently. I think that's it. I am wearing a shawl that I knit earlier this year. This is the Slipping Tiles shawl by Stephen West. And yarns that I dyed myself. It is pretty dang big. It's got 4 different colors that I dyed myself. You can see all of it. It's one of my favorites. I love how huge it is. At work, instead of like wearing a jacket in the office, because it can get quite warm, I like when I get chilly, I put it around my shoulders like this, and it's a perfect amount. So I love it. This is I'm hoping to find some more patterns that are about this size and style. This is definitely one of my favorites, and the colors are more of a neutral, and so it's easier to kind of match with more things. So I dyed these myself. The yarn is from Nomad. It's a 75-25 blend. It's honestly not my favorite for shawls. Socks definitely, but it's not the softest for like sweaters and shawls. So I wish I would have done something else, but it was my first batch of undyed yarn to purchase, and figuring all that stuff out is a lot, so you don't know it until you buy it. But the colors I've done in this are, so the main color that goes all the way through it is Sand Dune, which is the same color that I used in my Shawlography shawl. Same thing with the brown right here is a teddy bear brown in that first section. This second section is Delphinium blue. And then this last section, garter section, is Mauve. And all of those are just like the 1% dye stock. And I purchased all my dyes through Dharma Trading Co. So definitely fun. You can tell with my yarns that I've dyed myself that I've stuck with doing like tonals and semi-solids before, or as like my test dyes. And maybe, I'll get into the speckled and variegateds, but you can't, I don't know a dye color until or what a dye will look like or how it will act until you actually test it out. And so I think the semi-solids and the tonals like this are the way to go. This Delphinium blue color that you can get from Dharma Trading, it actually breaks if, like, I did try speckling it on a different yarn because I loved the color so much. And there was like pinks and blues, of course, and purples when you speckle it. It turned out pretty well. I have to pull that out. I did knit my sister some socks in that, but I think I've got plenty of leftovers that I can show y'all eventually. But that's inside and I'm not gonna get to it now. So, this one I finished quite some time ago, but I will link my Ravelry project page. It's just a lot of slip stitches, and it's got some long slip stitches, so the floats can be, there you can see, some of my floats are messy. Because those long floats behind slip stitches you can't carry, as I kind of talked about in my Shawlography, and they're kind of hard to carry, or you can't carry, so figuring out like the tension in all those floats is sometimes difficult. But it was I did enjoy the knit. The I-cord bind off was a lot, but it was worth it. I love it. It's one of my most worn shawls, I think. So my other finished objects, I finished my daughter's Musselburgh, and I finished it in time to enter it into the We Share Needles and the Crafted Pearl knit along, the Show Us Your Muscles Cal that ended on October 31st. I actually finished it, I believe, on the 29th. I didn't have enough yarn to make the folded brim, but I think that will be fine with it going on a 2-year-old. I knit the adult small size. It's knit with mohair and fingering. The mohair is the pink fuzz, which you can obviously see. And the mohair is from Ruby and Rose's yarn in her Playful colorway, and her mohair base is called Delicate Rose. She's actually having a like store-wide sale. Some of them are 20% off, some of them are 10% off, so go check out her yarns. They're gorgeous. The fingering is Mace of Skeins Fairy Dust, and I believe it's her club base. I don't have my show notes out here. My computer was dead, or my laptop was dead, so I couldn't bring it out here. But I think it's her 75-25 club base on her fingering, and the two together are just perfect. I love the pops of blue, which you can see up in here, and the pink fuzz. I'm hoping that my daughter will wear it with it being fuzzy. We'll see how it goes. She also has another hat that I knit for her a while back that stays in her bag for daycare for when it gets cooler. So it fits me pretty well. It's actually the perfect size. It doesn't fully cover my ears. It can. If I block it out long, I haven't blocked it yet. If I block it out long, it should get some length to it. So it can fit me and it can fit her, and it'll be perfect. My husband actually wore his Musselburgh hat, and that's the one that I did half green, half orange for hunting season. So he wore it yesterday when he went hunting in the morning, and he came back and he was like, "This thing saved my butt." It was warm. I was like, "Yep, it's the double thickness. I knew you'd like it when it was actually cold." So he loved it and had nothing, or all good things to say about it. So I have enough leftovers. I might knit another one as a gift for some other another hunter I know. But my second finished object is my Shawlography. I finished it within the time frame. I think I finished it on Thursday night this week, so 2 or 3 days ago. Last time you saw it, Clue 4 had not released. Clue 3 had just released a couple days before, and I was kind of halfway through or just starting the brioche section. I figured now he's posted everything. Clue 4's released. At this point, it's not really a spoiler, so I'm not really gonna put a spoiler alert in. My ends are all woven in. I don't cut my ends until after I block, so that way if they need to stretch and move, they've got the room to do that and they won't pop out on the right side. So I plan on blocking this hopefully this afternoon. We'll see. I gotta find a good place to put it or lay it out because it is pretty big. But here is my finished shawlography. Let me see if I can step back. And I am wearing sweatpants. It's Sunday. And I am wearing boots because these are my outside boots. Outside things. Shoes. Here is my finished shawlography. And it turned out great. The stripes were super easy. It's turned out gorgeous. And I'm excited to see how big it'll grow. It's definitely longer than my wingspan, and I'm about 5'2". So, yep, there's my finished shawlography. I need to get some finished pictures of it too after I block it. So, I did dye all this yarn myself. It is 100% merino wool. I purchased it from Yarn Undyed. And let's see, the colors I used. Color A is the Cabernet from, all the dyes are from Dharma Trading Co. So I've got color A is the Cabernet, color B is the sand, and I actually used the most of color B. The rest of the 4 colors had at least 40 grams left. Color C is this teal that's through here. And the teal I mixed to make colors. I think I mixed brilliant blue and forest green. Color C is this mustard, which is here, and it's also striped in here. I guess I could show y'all down here. They're alone. The mustard is color C here, which is a mix of the bright yellow and the teddy bear brown, and color D is the teddy bear brown. Color C is the sand dune. All of it. So I loved knitting this shawl. I loved to me, each of the techniques seemed super easy. Super easy. I mean, it's just knitting and purling. I mean, and then you have the I-cords and the bobbles. But all the bobbles were like an I-cord. So if you watched his videos, I mean, all the techniques are super easy. It's just putting 2 things together and it worked out. So I definitely plan on doing next year's shawl. I know a lot of people, if they were behind or after seeing Clue 3, I do wish that the brioche section here was longer. I loved the brioche. And the crisscrosses were a little funky. And that one row took forever to do, and all the wraps of it, it just took forever. But then once I got to the border, I flew by. It was super easy. And it was nice to be able to bind off as you went. So you can see all my ends are woven in back there. Especially on the bottom, there's quite a bit. I was very thankful for the Weave and Steven that he shows throughout his videos. Especially on that bottom border, because you're cutting the yarn every single time. Those ends, there would have been way too many to weave in. So I'm excited to block this and get to wear it. It's super soft. I need to figure out what I want to use all the scraps from this for into another shawl or a sweater, because that'll be super soft. I'm excited to use more of that yarn. So that is that. I'm happy it's done. Now all of my focus is on this one whip. And I did show it 2 weeks ago. I showed it I just received the yarn. It is my sample knit for Addison of Ruby and Rose's yarn. And I'm knitting her Fascination shawl. And this is the second one that I'm knitting for her. Let me remove this stitch marker because it doesn't really mean anything for y'all. It's kind of in the middle. But I am about 100 rows in. 115 rows in out of like 300. It's a huge shawl. This yarn is her Unbreakable Vow. And then there's also a contrast color that'll be the border. That's Golden Hour, which I've shown y'all before. And here it is. It's kind of messy. And I think she does have some Golden Hour in her shop right now. And it is the best fall color. Even though most people are getting their Christmas colors out, this is a gorgeous color. But that'll be the border, and so this is the Fascination shawl that she's recently released. It's got some baubles. It's got these different techniques. I believe this is the technique right here that she is using in her blanket that she's also designing. Then you got some more baubles and then some other different textures. This is just, it's texture all the way through the shawl. So this is my main focus. I'm trying to finish it. She was hoping a month turnaround, so it's been 2 weeks. So see if I can get it done in the next 2 to 3 weeks. It is a lot of knitting. It takes 3 full skeins and then a 50-gram skein for the border. She does have kits on her site. This is one of the kits, the Unbreakable Vow and Golden Hour kit. And then she has the other sample I knit for her is out of the Eye in the Mirror and Common Ground. And I will link that project page from when I knit that. And she shows it off in her latest podcast. Then she's also got another kit from the original colors she dyed it in. And I believe her kits are included in her sale. She is moving, and so she's trying to clear out some inventory because I can't imagine moving all that yarn. So definitely go check out her shop. She's got gorgeous yarns, gorgeous speckles, and even tonals, so definitely worth it. This is that. So this is how much I've gotten done in 2 weeks. You can see it. And I'm hoping that in the next 2 weeks that it'll be almost done and I can send it off to her soon. And then I can get started back focused on my Like a Cloud cardigan that I haven't even touched this last week. I've got my sleeves done, and then I think I've got it to like right here, so I just need to fly on the body. And then I also need to get started on some socks. My family, so I'm the oldest of 4 siblings, and this year we've decided to draw names for each other because 2 of us have significant others, and then we've also got somebody who's basically another brother for us, so there's quite a bit of us. And so instead of buying everybody a gift, we've decided that we are going to draw names and just do one because it's easier budget wise. It's hard to buy for that many people. But I did pull my sister, and she was like, I want socks. I was like, perfect, I can do that. So I've picked out a few yarns for her out of my stash to knit her some socks. I just have to get going on those. So the other sock whip that I have, the fall socks from Daisy Stitch Co that I showed off last weekend that are literally just a cuff, it will probably just be a cuff for some time, or I will rip it out and use those needles for my sister's socks and start over later. I still love them and I still want them as a pair, but we will get to that eventually. I'll knit my sister's Christmas presents because I usually start shopping for Christmas early. Like, there was one year I think I was done at this point. And that was such a relief and so nice. And I haven't even started this year. I've got a couple lists and ideas for people, but I gotta get going. So I need to get those socks off the needles and I'll feel better about that. Or on the needles, because they aren't even started yet. But I will dedicate all of my knitting time to that Fascination shawl sample and get that out the door to Addison, and then take some time for knitting for myself. I know with the Shawlography I didn't need to keep up, but I loved being able to keep up. And so that was my fight these last 2 weeks, is what do I work on? Do I work on the one that's due to somebody in a month, or do I work on what I want to work on and finish the Shawlography? So I kind of did a little bit of both, and then I had one day where I was able to get a lot done, and while I was out of the house, and I had been taking just Shawlography out of the house because the border was very vanilla knitting to me. I didn't need to look at the pattern. I had memorized the stripe sequence. It's just back and forth garter, and so I was able to knock out quite a bit one day, and I was like, yes, I can do it. I can finish it in time, and then I can just focus on Shawlography and get that done. So I was super happy about that. So each day my daughter goes to bed about 8ish, and then I sit in bed and knit for about 2 hours. My husband is studying for the CPA exam, so he does that then. So I can get quite a bit knocked out each evening, and then also I've got a 30-minute lunch break, which it's about 200, almost 250 stitches on that Fascination shawl row right now, and it increases each time, so I may get 1 or 2 rows done in that 30 minutes depending on what part of the pattern I'm in. But hey, that's better than nothing. And then weekends, we've been traveling a lot, and so I've taken it in the car and I can get quite a bit done. So with life, so I've got a 2-year-old, and she is just great. She, last weekend, it was Halloween weekend. We had some friends over to play and lunch on Saturday. Then that Saturday evening, we had one of the little towns near us had a trunk or treat where they closed off their town square and had like businesses and people open up the back of their cars, and that was the trick-or-treating, was we just went around the square. And it was the perfect amount for her first time trick-or-treating, because the first year she was only like a month old, and we obviously weren't going out and here, give my baby candy who can't eat anything. Last year, obviously the world was not in a situation where we could go trick-or-treating, so this year was her first year. She dressed up as Anna. We got a hand-me-down costume from somebody at church, and Anna's dress was purple. Her favorite color is purple, so she was happy to wear that. There's some days she chooses to wear that to school, and I'm like, okay, you're dressed. So she loved that. She had fun. She figured it out. She gets kind of shy. She doesn't talk to people as much until she's around them a lot. And so she did figure out, here, if I give them my bucket, they'll give me candy. So it was fun. And then Sunday evening, our church had a little fall festival just for the people of our church and anybody who was invited. We had a little bounce house and some bins with some like deer corn in it for them to play around in, and we painted pumpkins. Oh, that child did not get off the bounce house she maybe got off the bounce house 2 or 3 times the whole 4 hours we were there. She loved it. So it was lots of fun. And then yesterday, Saturday, we went and spent some time at my in-laws. We are building a kitchen table for ourselves. I've got a couple pictures I might insert depending on their quality. This was the second weekend that we had gone over there to work on it. They've got a concrete slab shop that is level, and so we've decided that we don't really have that around here at our house. So it's so much easier to go over there, and he's got all the tools that it's just easier. So we finished that and brought it home. It still needs to be sanded and stained a few times, so maybe a couple months before we can get that actually in use. But that's what we spent yesterday doing, and then today's just our relaxing day. So next weekend is opening weekend here in Arkansas for deer season and modern gun, and so we will be traveling to go hunt with my husband's family. That's what they do every year. Wonder what my dogs are barking at. So we'll have fun with that and spend some time with family. But that's what's going on in my life right now. So thank you all for watching. I've enjoyed spilling my guts out with you about my knitting right now. It's definitely nice to talk about everything that's going on, and I'm a planner, and so being able to talk about my plans of knitting with other people, not just my husband, because as I have said before, he's just like, yeah, that's cool, whatever. Yeah, that's cool. That's all I ever get. So it's very nice to have some conversations with people about my knitting who understand it and enjoy it just as much as I do. So thank you for watching, and I hope you'll keep coming back. Bye.